Welcome to the final stop on my Trans-Siberian adventure, Vladivostok. What's up guys, welcome to another video, and today this is a huge day for me. I finally completed one of my biggest dreams. I've gone on the train all the way from Moscow to the far east of Russia, here to Vladivostok, the far east, the end of Russia. I've been on a train for over 2 weeks. I've seen so many cities, and here I am on my final stop, here to see my final city, Vladivostok. Vladivostok is a city in the far east of Russia. It's actually the capital of the far eastern district and the capital of its area, Primorsky Krai. This city here, we're actually not too far from the border with Korea and the border with China. It's a very short journey to both of them. This is a very international city, a port city, as you can see behind. There's ships and there's water here. In fact, here's the port. This city was founded in 1860, so it's quite new. It was founded as a military post, the far eastern military post of Russia, and grew incredibly fast due to its proximity to foreign countries and its access to warm water throughout the year. It became an incredibly strong economic place for the Russian Empire, and today it still serves much of the exact same functions. In 1958, Vladivostok was actually made a closed city due to its strategic importance for Russia, well, for the Soviet Union at the time, and it was closed all the way until 1991, when you no longer needed special permission to come visit, and it opened its doors to tourists from the whole world, and especially because of its location from the far east of Asia. Nowadays, Vladivostok is a pretty big city. It has over 600,000 people. It's the home of the Pacific Fleet of the Russian Federation, and as you can see behind me, a huge train station, as it's the eastern terminus of the Trans-Siberian Express. So we begin today's video, as we do in almost every city, next to the statue of communist revolutionary Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. And thank you to Vladivostok, this statue is in a pretty convenient place. It's not far in the center, not in a Lenin square. I don't have to go miles to find it. It's actually right next to the train station. So anyone finishing the Trans-Siberian Railway exits here in Vladivostok, and the first thing they see is Lenin himself. The train station right behind me is from the 19th century, with the first ceremonial stone being laid by Tsar Nikolai II himself. This train station actually reminds me a lot of the Yaroslavskaya station in Moscow, and I can see perhaps where they were inspired by that design. The station is decorated with lots of coats of arms of the royal family and the double-headed eagle, which is the symbol of the royal family. And during the Soviet years, they of course covered this up. They covered it up with different pictures, symbols of Soviet glory and stuff like that, keeping the train station beautiful, but more focused on Soviet imagery than royal imagery. And now here in the 21st century, after the fall of the Soviet Union, they've removed the Soviet imagery and restored it to how it looked when it was first built in the 19th century. This here is a Luteum Street. Of course, because this street is a little bit pedestrianized, people here call it Vladivostok Obad. This place is a very picturesque street here in the center of Vladivostok, going from the train station into the main center part of the city. As you can see behind, it's very well decorated with flowers and trees, well paved, beautiful street lamps, and quite old buildings, giving it a kind of oldie worldy type of feel. It's a very nice area. As you walk down this street, there's quite a lot of monuments and statues to various different people. But one I was pretty shocked to find here was a Hollywood actor. The Hollywood actor in question is this man here, Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner, most famous in this country for the movie Magnificent Seven. Yul Brynner was actually born in Vladivostok before he moved to the US, and therefore he is honoured here in this, his native city. Like most of Vladivostok, the Vladivostok fortress, which I'm standing in now, was built in the late 19th century. Following the Russo-Japanese War, people here in Vladivostok thought it imperative to build great fortifications to defend their safety in the future. So they decided to build a fortress right here. Construction finished here in about 1918, following the October Revolution and the First World War, where they decided that forces need to be concentrated and money needed to be concentrated on the Western Front. Nowadays, Vladivostok Fortress is not in use, but offers a really nice view over the water, and the actual territory itself is not just fortifications, but is cluttered with different missiles, tanks and turrets, which you can spend maybe half an hour having a look around. I'm now stood on the embankment called Sportivne. This was the place back in the day where all the fishermen would come in with their catches. They'd drop off the fish here, and then the fish would be sent to the factories, which are also by the water. Then in the 1950s, that industry here in this area was destroyed, and they replaced everything here with sporty things. So there was a beach here, there were sports courts here, and that was for a while, for maybe 50 years. And then in more recent years, this place was completely renovated again. And now you can see it's all paved, there are benches, there's flower beds, and there's even a fountain. So now, instead of being sporty, instead of somewhere to fish, this is now a nice place for local people to watch. Behind me here is Golden Horn Bay. The bay splits this city into two separate halves, this side and this side. It was named Golden Horn Bay by Muraviev-Amurski when he first came to this city, and it resembled Istanbul, the Bosphorus which splits the two sides of Istanbul. Across Golden Horn Bay is this Golden Bridge, which spans the entire bay and gets people from one side to the other. However, this is only the second biggest bridge in Vladivostok. The best place to view Golden Horn Bay is from here, where there's a viewing platform with a statue of Saint Cyril and Saint Methody, the creators of the Russian alphabet, the Cyrillic alphabet. I'm now in Admiral Park. Admiral Park, as you might guess, is right by the water here in Vladivostok, and this is the first man-made park in the city. It has plants and trees from many different places around Russia, in particular the taiga, and what's more, has monuments from many different eras of Russia, pre-Soviet, Soviet and post-Soviet, some modern stuff. But most prominent is this behind me right here, this Arc de Triomphe, which is of course pre-Soviet. This was in fact built in commemoration of the visit of Tsar Nikolai, the final Tsar of Russia. When he visited Vladivostok, he wasn't yet the Tsar of Russia, he was just a young boy, and in his honor they built him this right here in Admiral Park. As well as the arch, there is a little church, a monument to the sea god Neptune, and down here closer to the water, a submarine, a museum where visitors can go in and visit a submarine. I'm now standing in the square of sister cities. Most cities around the world have one or two sister cities, but Vladivostok has 14. Those 14 cities are commemorated by being written on arches through a little walkway here. And for example, some of those cities are San Diego, Busan, South Korea, and Niigata in Japan. Of course, when you visit a Russian city, you expect to see lots of Russian Orthodox churches, and maybe you'll see one Catholic church. But something I definitely did not expect to see this far east in Vladivostok is a German Lutheran church. When Nikita Khrushchev came back from San Francisco, he wasn't only impressed by the bridges but also by the trams, and he decided he wanted to build one here in Vladivostok. So here we have it behind, the funicular train here in Vladivostok. However, this one only has 2 stops, it's only 180 meters, and its only real function is to get from the bottom up to the top to the viewing platform, where you can come and see the bridges. This building behind me is known as the Pushkin Theater. It's a beautiful 3-story building with a mixture of late Gothic and Art Nouveau styles. Behind me here is Russian Bridge, the biggest and the most famous bridge here in Vladivostok. It was originally the idea of Khrushchev, the leader of the Soviet Union, who visited San Francisco and wanted one for himself. But the economy wasn't doing so well and it was shelved, and then the plans came back, and then perestroika came, so the plans were shelved again. And then eventually in the 21st century, when they decided to host an economic summit here for Asian leaders, they finally got around to building the bridge. And it's the most grand bridge here I've ever seen in Russia, and it's actually the longest bridge of this type in the whole world. Guys, thank you for getting to the end of this video, my final video from the Trans-Siberian Express here in Vladivostok. After this, I'm going to be doing some more videos from my life in Moscow. I'm going to travel a little bit more around Russia in different areas of Russia, as well as doing some tutorials for you guys about the Trans-Siberian. People have asked me, how do you do it? Do you have any tips? So I'm going to do a whole blockbuster video about how to do the Trans-Siberian. So there's lots of really great stuff coming up on this channel, and I hope if you like this video, you'll press subscribe and you'll see a lot more of those videos in the future. So guys, thank you so much for getting this far in today's video, and goodbye.